What is going on, guys? Back with another video. Hope you're all keeping well. So crypto gaming has been very underwhelming, right? And the real question is this narrative dead? Or is it going to have a comeback, right? Because there has been some pretty sad news in relation to one of the projects, Nine Heroes. This was a project I did hold, and a lot of people had conviction in this, and for good reasons. This project had a lot of hype surrounding it. This was featured by huge streamers, gamers. This is on over 1 million players on wish lists, on Epic Games, on Steam. A lot of coverage of this project, AAA standard. They secured a lot of funding. I think they raised around $13 million. And they came out with this just a few days ago, basically saying that they're going to be shutting down operations because they can't secure funding to keep the studio going, right? So the amount of money they require must have been a lot. And really, for gaming, this is sad to see because this was definitely one of the projects. If you sort of knew about this project, you would agree this was one of the projects which, of course, we all know the risk with microcaps, but this was one which it had potential, right? So is this going to be the last gaming project to shut down? It's not going to be. We've seen some other projects, follow, and I do think you need to be very careful, even myself, with my approach going forward in terms of gaming, right? Because of course, one of the biggest catalysts for gaming was GTA 6. We now know this is coming in May 2026. It was anticipated for 2025, towards the end of 2025. That's not happening. So now this is, a big delay. We're talking around a year, just over a year. So, this has sort of mirrored in the Web3 gaming space as well. You can see here, crypto gaming interest has dropped. And overall, the market just seems very difficult, right? So, what do, right? Do you sell all of your gaming bags? In my opinion, you shouldn't be doing that. You just need to be very picky. I don't think you should be overexposed to gaming. But ultimately, you need to be prepared for the risk, right? So, as I've said, guys, gaming here, $13 billion in market cap, very small market cap. We've seen meme coins go on to smash through the total market cap of gaming. And today, guys, I'm going to show you the 25 projects which are on my watch list for gaming. Now, I don't hold all of these, and ultimately, I don't recommend you to hold all of them as well. You need to do your own research. Gaming's very saturated. You all know that. You need to be very careful with what you hold, particularly when it comes to the microcaps, guys, right? Because you've got something like Nine Heroes, which, had massive funding. You can see here, the backers behind this as well. This raised a huge amount of money and, they've shut down, right? So you do need to be prepared. Whatever you put into these microcaps, you need to be prepared to lose, right? So getting into the watch list, guys, this is going to be around 25 projects. It's going to be projects which I think have potential within gaming. Of course, we're going to talk about each one briefly. Of course, IMX and Beam, for me, these are the two best high caps. For me, in particular, Beam, this is my biggest holding when it comes to gaming. And to be honest with you, it hasn't performed very well, just like the majority of gaming. Still very close to the bottom as well. And, ultimately, you're talking around a 5x just to all-time highs, which is just 2 billion. Long term, guys, I think this still has good potential, right? I think you have good potential to get in on this still very early. 400 million in market cap, very small market cap for, the size of the project. Massive partnerships, a good list of games, good talk utility, also within the AI narrative as well. For me, this is still the best overall gaming project, right? Of course, the whole market for gaming is slow. This is why this isn't performing. But for me, this is still my highest conviction play. If this rugs, I lose all hope for gaming, right? I'll be honest with you. That is the conviction I have in this. But ultimately, who knows what's going to happen, right? You need to be prepared to lose when you invest as well. And of course, none of this is financial advice. And then you come down the list, right? Of course, Superverse, this has big influences backing it. Again, for me, I would prefer to go for Beam. You've got Zai, which is a good, sort of mid cap option, decent. And then really, guys, it comes into the low caps where there is a lot of choice, right? And when you look at the low caps, there are some good options, right? One in particular, which I do think does have good potential, is this one, Ancient 8. This is a newer project, layer 2 as well on Ethereum. Big backers behind this as well, backed by Coinbase as well. It has that Coinbase listing as well. So for me, this is a good option, right? Decent option. I do think, again, you do need to be careful what you invest into. But for me, this risk reward on this is definitely attractive. 40 million. When gaming comes, even if it is towards the end of the year, this is still a project which has potential. Of course, it's risky, but I do like the project. I think they're doing some pretty good things behind the scenes. And then, of course, we saw the launch of Gunzilla. Again, I think a decent option. Of course, watch out for dilution. I don't think it's too bad in 2025, but going onwards from that, you do need to be careful. But ultimately, this is a project which has, again, a lot of hype. But again, this is something that Nine Heroes had, right? So nothing is safe when it comes to gaming, guys. You just need to, pick some of the projects and have some exposure to gaming, because I do think, it will have a major comeback. So, Gunzilla, I think, is another, decent option when it comes to a low cap. Altura, again, another older project, which I think does have good potential. 30 million market cap. We saw this perform really well. This went on to surge in, early 2025. Over 150 million. It's come down massively. I still think this is a good bet in terms of gaming. A very good project, and again, very good levels to get entry into. And then you come down the list, right? You've got the likes of Nakamoto Games, a very good catalog of games in terms of Nakamoto Games. You've got good influencers sort of talking about this as well. It is an older project, so again, you do need to bear that in mind. And then you've got something like Metacade, guys, right? And the reason I like this a lot is it has a lot of influencers talking about this, right? And marketing is very important. You need people to be aware of the gaming project, and this is one of the projects which does have a lot of hype around it. And then you come down to two projects, GFAL and Myria, which have struggled a lot, right? And when these were sort of hyped around earlier towards 2023, the dilution was really bad, right? Now you've got an opportunity where a lot of the supply has been released. The thing with GFAL, the volume is atrocious. Around 100k, is really poor for the size of the market cap, and they need more listings, right? But as I've said, they do have a decent roadmap for 2025, but they need more listings, right? And again, more games need to be developed. But if you're looking for something high risk, potential high reward, they've got a decent team as well, good experience. I think again, it's a decent option. And then Myria, layer 2 scaling solution. Again, they do develop some good games, also within AI as well. Again, it's been pretty quiet, slightly better volume in relation to, GFAL, decent listings as well. But again, gaming is just slow. And ultimately, you still have time to get in. But they do need to develop more games, right? But again, Myria, 25 million in market cap, back to all-time highs. You're talking close to a 10x, right? So again, decent option, could perform, but you do need to be prepared for the risk. And then you come down this list, guys. You've got Carrot. Again, I like it because it has big influences on board. Moon Tropica, again, has performed pretty well. And again, this has many, many influencers talking about it. And again, guys, that is just as important as how good the game is, right? If the game is good and no one knows about it, it's not going to perform. Moon Tropica has good marketing, good influencers, and ultimately that is probably why it's going to perform. And then you come down towards the very, very high risk section, guys, right? Heroes of Mavia, we've all known how volatile this is, how much, just how crazy this project is. We did see this surge, earlier, earlier to all the way back to from around 6 million all the way to, 35 million. Since then, it's come back. Will it pump again? Probably. But for me, this is a good project to trade. But ultimately, again, they've sort of continued to develop, and they've got a decent roadmap as well. And ultimately, time will tell. But at 10 million, this is something which could definitely perform again close to the bottom. And then you come down the list, you've got something like Corpo. We've seen this now, of course, more of the supply has been released. Around $10 million in market cap. Again, good project overall, good low cap, micro cap option. Again, decent listings on this as well. Again, another good choice in terms of microcaps. And then you've got the likes of Shrapnel, Shooter Game, Playable, AVAX, Exposure. Not the best, but again, they could definitely pump when it comes to a gaming run. Super Champs, another sort of game which has a lot of adoption, a lot of players on base as well. Creo Engine as well. This is another project, has a big community, very small market cap, around 4 million, very healthy trading volume as well. And then you come down to the DGen NanoCap list, right? Octo Gaming, again, this is one of the only projects that I actually play. I have the app, and when I have free time, I do play some of these mini games. Very good concept, and it is one of the only projects that actually made me go out and buy the NFT. It has been resolved in terms of the whole KuCoin situation as well. And again, this is still very small. 2 million in market cap, guys. 100x is 200 million, 50x is 100 million. So again, this could make a comeback. Very risky, guys. So again, I don't need to repeat. You need to be prepared for the risk. Players app, again, something very similar to Octo Gaming, mobile gaming. And then you've got another very degen in terms of Engines of Fury. Very high risk. But again, decent volume in terms of volume to market cap ratio. Sinverse, again, another good, very high risk degen microcap GTA style of game. And then you've got something like Times. This is a SUI based play. And then you've got something like Meta Horse Unity. This is like a horse racing based game. I covered this a long time ago. Very small market cap, has been performing over the past month. And again, this could perform well as well. So yeah, guys, ultimately, when it comes to gaming, you need to be very patient. And what I would say is you don't need to go overboard with this. Just pick a few of these. For me, Beam is the best high cap. And then, you can pick something like, I don't know, you pick, guys. Ultimately, you have to decide. But, don't be prepared to get, massive gains overnight. This is going to require patience. So yeah, guys, ultimately, gaming will come back. I just think it's something which is going to require more patience. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. And again, it is very sad to see what happened with 9 Heroes. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'll see you soon for the next video.